All right. Looks like I finally made it come up. I was having trouble getting on here. See what I can do here to make it so I can see the chat. Okay. All right. Looks like Jared's on here. Ren, Ruth, how you all doing? Can all of you hear me okay? Great. All right. Well, I might as well get started. I was going to wait a little bit, but I thought we'll just go ahead and get on here and start. I told everybody out there at one time that I would try to get another live going, and I've got some time today, and so I'm going to try to get this thing. So let's see who we got so far. Jared, Ren, Ruth, Monica. Oh, John Caps. How you doing, John? Jared. Road King. Glad to see you on there. It's been a while since I was on here doing it live. Road King, it looks like you're the only moderator so far. Big thing, Road King, is I want to keep some of the language down. I've got on there 10 minutes, for anybody trying to get in here that's not already a sub. But if somebody gets in on here and starts getting out of hand, either get my attention or put them to sleep for a while, whatever you have to do to get them to tame down. I'm not here to get a fight going. As most of you know, one of the reasons I backed off on live chats is I just didn't want to get too much controversy going among the subs. It's important to me, at least, that we might not fight with each other. That's my big goal when I have a and not lose sight of the goal of why I got in all this controversy as it is. As you know, it seems like instead of getting slower or going away or trying to get things settled out there in Otter Creek of these attacks that have been going on John and Michelle and their little daughter. My theory of the whole thing is if it wasn't for money, this thing would have been gone a long time ago. And my thought is that that's what's kept it suspended up there in air. And most of us out here, in one way or the other, are we getting punished because we're trying to help Michelle and John out. We realize that everybody out there deserves a life of their own. They don't need to be beat on a daily basis. They need to have the freedom to move about, whether it's down the road they live on or post office or to even go to a grocery store. It's our rights. And anybody that tries to keep us from doing that has to have an ulterior motive. And the motive in this case, I believe, is money. And one of the things I've noticed is that the channels that are benefiting the most from this are the very large channels. But the ones that are doing the dirty work are just people that are subscribers. And I wonder who's getting advantage taken of them. It's not the big channels, I can tell you right now, because if you're making money, you're not getting advantage taken of you. But the people that are donating to some of those causes out there that cause such pain to John and Michelle, I worry, what is our world coming to? And this venue, YouTube, that has allowed some of the stuff to go on, what is it coming to there as well? Our First Amendment allows us freedom of speech, not necessarily harassment. And trying to know where the line is sometimes is kind of hard. See if anybody new has come in here since I went through the Hal. Noreen, thank you for coming on. Suzanne, Sue, Special Agent Mo Magic. Mo, thank you very much for coming on here today. One of the other things I wanted to ask you guys is, since one of the channels now has declared war, and this is getting to be more like a child getting mad at each other for some reason. People put on these costumes, and all of a sudden they're Superwoman or Superman or whatever they might pretend to be. We're not a group of the con comics. We're a group of people that are very serious in our intent of helping somebody that is down. And I haven't changed from that day. I still feel that I want to pursue that avenue. And even though I'm trying to build it up as much as I can for these people, we've got so many that are trying to tear us apart. And one of the ways they do it is they hit the people in the chats, the mods, the people that want to make a comment. Now I noticed that people that make comments, they're being attacked. And I know a lot of you don't realize it, but these big channels that are making the big bucks, they're copying you. They're doing screenshots of you. So you have to be a little careful, choose your words wisely when you're saying something. You can get your point across. Keep it as clean as you can when you do it. And there's nothing wrong with saying something about a person that you don't like. You can say, hey, I don't like them. I don't like their methods. I think they're bullies. I think they're in it for the money or whatever it is. That's a fair statement. We're each entitled to that by our Constitution. As long as we don't make statements that is completely wrong, that is untrue. We don't want to be like some of them out there that take advantage of their situation and can say, they take a little truth and they stretch it to the point that it becomes a complete lie. And I like to always talk to people about the fisherman's lie, because it's an example of what can happen, and it's a clean way of explaining it. It is this. The fisherman catches a fish. It's that big. When he gets home, it's that big. Well, the only truthful part was he caught a fish that size. He went fishing. The rest of it was a lie. The whole thing becomes a lie because of the exaggeration of the size of the fish. And that happens a lot of times. And I've noticed a lot of the words that you're saying, you or me or anybody else, they're being taken out of context, and they'll match them. You may make several comments in different channels. And if you grab a screenshot of whichever ones they are, and they're lined up together, and it looks as if it came off from, it doesn't matter whether it's Tugs or Megan's or Jeremy's, if they just put them together, even though you may have not said them all on one channel, but it looks like you did, and that you agreed with whatever the narrative above was. They might have been talking about something completely different than you were, and you made a comment, and now there's mix it in there. They don't directly say they did it after this comment, but they're using it against the people out there. And that's why I say, who's getting the advantage taken of them? So the same people that are doing the donations to some of these other channels that are doing nothing but tearing people up, and in particular, they're using the excuse that they don't believe that John and Michelle are worth helping. They don't believe that. I can tell you as a Christian, I do believe it's worth helping them out. I do believe that as Christians, we should help people when they're down. And, for a couple of years, they have been picked on. They went through literal hell on earth. And they don't deserve that. But worse than that is when they come on and they get mad because somebody used the tactics on them that they used on everybody else out here. And they declare war. All of a sudden, they're this person that is somebody else. They're going to be saving people. And that their leader may be Jeremy. They look at him. It's his channel. He's being picked on. He's being all these things about John and Michelle. John and Michelle don't stalk him. They don't follow him to a grocery store. They don't follow him to a post office and attack him. They don't follow him into the town meeting. But what happens is there's a protective order against John and Michelle that limits what they can do. Now, one of the things we can do to help out, John and Michelle are involved in multiple lawsuits as I speak right now. And they don't have the kind of money it takes to fight. They're being steamrolled. And every excuse in the book is being used by these large YouTube channels. Why don't we just go ahead and help them out? It'd be a good idea if we were able to, there's a PayPal account out there that they need taken care of so that they can hire a firm that's going to handle all those things for them. Now, I had put it on mine the other day. Bruce has put it up a few times. Lisa Lee has put it up. And when I'm done with this chat, I'm going to put it down below in my, so you can go back and look later on if you want to look at the chat or if you want to look at part of that description. I'll put it down below in the commentary after this is all over with. But it is a way that you can donate to help this family out. Now, if we don't put a stop to all these problems out there, they're never going to stop. And a lot of you guys have been watching this for the last couple of years, and it's got to get worrisome. And you've seen how it spread, because it went from John and Michelle, and now there's at least, counting John and Michelle, 11 people that are being sued in another federal lawsuit right there in Florida. Now, when they declared war, I'm assuming, war is that's a big word. That's a threat, which includes, unfortunately, people like me. Now, these people that declared war, Megan herself did it. She's declared war on people like me. I just have a few thousand people on here on the channel. And hopefully you don't think that I deserve something like that, somebody to come out and declare war on me. But that's just what's happened. See, let me go over some of the people in here now. Sky, Tricky Chi. John, I already seen you on there. Hal, Rin, Road King. There'll be more come in here, I'm sure. I know Lisa said that she would be here sometime once she realizes I'm on here, I think. Most of you know that in the last few days, things have heated up. You also know there's another ex-lawyer that has filed a lawsuit, and she has undergone threats. She has closed down almost all of her social accounts because she doesn't need the BS coming her way. And the social accounts were something that she very seldom used anyway. It wasn't a big deal. But like I say, just because she went on the live show one day, it's 100% all call out, all these channels wanted to make an example of her. And they went after her. And they went into her background and they defamed her. And now she filed a lawsuit on them. And now they're going after her 10 times. And that's when the declaration of war went out there. And I know it's not not fair that Christians have to be involved in stuff like that, but it happens. It's like when David faced Goliath. Yeah, he didn't have much to fight with, but he stepped out, walked out there, and put Goliath down. The righteous can stand up to the crowd, to the larger people, to people that you normally wouldn't have to deal with. You just have to believe that you can. You can't always back down from everything out there. Bullies don't know what it is for people to back down. They pursue you until you can no longer run. There's no such thing as getting away from a bully. And most of you know how I feel about bullies in general. But the other night, when war was declared on all of us out here, they were trying to do nothing more than build up John and Michelle and see to it that they could have a decent life. And now, when you look at those channels, literally we're talking well over 1 million. And if you put them all together, very quickly, out of about 5 channels, you can come up with over 1.5 million subscribers that are out there at the beck and call of these large YouTubers. And like I said, who is the one making money on this? Well, you don't have to look very far. These people that got together, they're professional YouTubers that depend on this for their income. And now they're trying to make examples out of little guys like myself, Super Dave, Lisa Lee's channel of 2 Lees in a Pod. They went after Guapo. They went after Get Swamped. I mean, it's just like one after another. They're after them. Let's see. Yep. Yeah. Jeremy's been involved in one lawsuit after another. It started way back there with his wife during a divorce. A lot of people went after everybody because they happened to mention something about it. These guys go after people's families, their kids. They go after grandkids. Money can be made for evil things. And this is going on too long in Otter Creek. We're talking about a small town that's been turned upside down. I mean, what if you had to walk the streets of Otter Creek? How would you feel? Would you be more leery of Jeremy, or would you be more leery of John and Michelle? In my mind, I mean, I know who I'd be worried about. And all the things that John and Michelle have tried to do to protect herself, everybody out there, and I really thank everybody out there that helped finance that fence for John and Michelle and provided Christmas in the Creek for Harley's Christmas. That little girl was so happy. And then money was donated to try to get that house completed so that they have a nice place to rest their heads, if you will, and get away from these people that are giving them such a bad time. But they had to build their fence up higher. And that wasn't enough. They had to go higher yet with screening because the cameras across the street are up over 10 feet. They can see down on their property. They put screening up by the travel trailer they have up there so that their daughter can play out there without being seen every minute. John, he was turned in for yelling at Michelle to, grab Harley because somebody was out there trying to film their child. And they were turned into the sheriff's department. And, they come out and it was unfounded that they looked at Jeremy as being the aggressor in the situation. I read that thing off to you and was attacked for even doing that. as if I'm not entitled to have a report from a FOIA report of the incident. We all can have that. And in the last week, people were attacked because they showed the litigation over the last 10 years of the divorce that went on. And they were attacked because his son got on there and in his own YouTube, and he was not contacted by anybody out there. He went on his own because he's seen what was going on there and tried to explain to everybody what was going on. And he was attacked even by the Jeremy's minions to a certain extent. And the only thing that was said about him from them, not from the other side, was that he had mental issues. Well, yeah, he did. He had PTSD from by his own words, treatment that he got as a child. And then the consular said the same thing in papers that were submitted to the courts. So I don't know how far you can go with legitimate. It's not just I see Super Dave's on there. Thank you, Dave. I don't know how much, when you see the actual paperwork and the kid come on there and said what happened to him as a child, and it matches the divorce papers, legal papers in the court. How can you dispel that? And those same habits today of litigation and harassment and just keep on going and going. Let me ask you something. If you were scared of somebody, would you go by their house every opportunity you got and took pictures of them? Would you do that? I mean, if you're truly scared of that person. Now, remember, Florida has a stand your ground law. Now, put yourself in John's shoes. If you had somebody yell at you over the fence or whatever's going on out there, but before that, somebody put a satire out, a song, and it said the angel of death was coming for your child. Would you be on the prowl, waiting for somebody, worrying about whether they were coming to take your daughter? Would it scare you that somebody made those? But not only that, that same person that made that song had pictures taken of himself in front of that property. Later on, that same individual, you can see him taking pictures of Michelle coming out of a restaurant headed for their vehicle. And you can also see the brick post that he was hiding behind. They had left their place of work at the flea market, picked up supper to have on their way home or after they got home. And this guy, same guy, and you know who it was? It was Radis, okay? And who does he associate with? With very large YouTubers out there. They pat him on the back. He was in Otter Creek doing DJ work there during their festival. That same guy that was stalking, I'm saying he was stalking because of the way this all came down. And to this day, he's still putting up a pretend diary, AI, of Michelle's thoughts. All of us at one time or another suffered some sort of something from him in these satires. And now people on there are wondering, okay, if somebody does a satire on them, those people, those little channels that had the balls to do something like that are completely in the wrong. I ask you out there, where's the fairness? And who's making the money? Follow that chain of money, and you're going to see why this thing has not went away. That poor judge up there that got hit with all that paperwork, and now the trial's at a complete standstill. The submittals by Bruce, it was turned in to that judge, shows some of the criminal activities that went on with proof. Is anything going to be done with that? I don't know. I have no idea. I only seen the submittals that we were allowed to see. They want to know about him. These people they'll follow. And it was even mentioned in one of the YouTubers. They found out where his wife worked, what her schedule was, the minor child at home. This guy that went after Michelle and John, followed them home from work. That guy made a comment about their juvenile child, that he was going to have to take a hit on himself and volunteer to take her out because nobody else would. What does that tell you about this guy named Radis? He's not here in this country. He's back home in Australia. He's not here. But he's still doing things on YouTube. He's still allowed to harass people on YouTube. The same thing that I'm using trying to explain what's going on out there. This declaration of war was allowed on YouTube. Declaration of war. I haven't heard such stuff since I left the military. I gave up my time for this country when I was a juvenile, really. I was 17. 3 years I spent in the service. What do these people give up? The ones that are out there declaring war on me? I'll be 81 in a few weeks. 81 years old, folks. I did my time here on this earth. I'm not going to be here a whole lot longer, but most of you will be. And you're going to let people like this get away with this kind of crap? Why? Why would you do that? The tugs of the world? Because they got smart mouth? Because they think they're on top of it? What did you do to this guy? What did you do for somebody to declare war because you believe in John and Michelle should have a helping hand? Did Christ give a helping hand to those in the gutter? Or did he shame them to death? Did he chase them down? You know, before they crucified him, he knew the people were following him. At least one of them would deny him 3 times before the crowed, before the rooster crowed. And he knew, and it happened. Judas betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. And to this day, that name is used in traitors, people that would turn you in, people that make your life miserable. That guy kissed him on the cheek and caused him to lose his life because he was identified by Judas so that they could put him on a cross. And yet, on this channel, everybody that is trying to help somebody that's down and out, a war is declared on them. A war. Who does that? Why would YouTube allow such things? A war? Are you kidding me? To say I'm disappointed doesn't cover it, not even half. You want to know something else? I actually got an email. Yep. Well, folks, I got news for you. In the next few days, I'm going to get attacked like you've never seen before. And that's fine. It's going to happen. They're so intent on bringing me down. They're hunting me like a hound dog. They're doing everything they can to bring me and my channel down. People out there that are donating to that cause are following people like that have nothing better to do than tear somebody down rather than give a helping hand out there to people that need it. You know what? You know, when the first time they went after me, let me tell you what happened. There was a channel out there called the DUI Guy. And I had mentioned his channel in my chat, in my video. in a positive manner. And I came on his channel one night, and he said, to all you guys out here, and he introduced me, out of the chat, by the way. He said, I want to help him out. I want to help Ray out. And within no time at all, there's 4,000 to 5,000 people that came to my channel and subbed to it. There was over 12,000 people on the channel that night, on my channel, that were now subscribers. I had made mention on Jeremy's channel that I thought maybe he had a split personality because he had trouble controlling himself. And he apparently had told Foreman something about, I don't trust him, I don't know about him yet. Me. Don't matter about what he thinks about me. At the time, I was reporting on his channel and John and Michelle's. Quite frankly, I was worried that we were going to lose our First Amendment because Jeremy was being hit with a protection order that would have stopped him from being able to use his First Amendment. And it bothered me because I said, hey, we all have a right to speak, don't we? Say our piece. We should have that right. We're Americans. Our Constitution calls for it. Well, immediately, instead of the channel growing, as I was making the comments, and it's not that both sides didn't attack my channel. I can tell you right now that the people who are following Michelle and John were after me because of my comments, and the people that were for Jeremy were after me because of my comments. You see, when you walk a fence, you piss off everybody, not 50%. Everybody is mad at you. But the people in Michelle's and John's didn't swear at me. They didn't call me names, and they never made one threat. Not one of them made a threat against my channel. But I did get a lot of threats from the other channel. And most of them wanted me to look closer, and I did. And what I found was disturbing at the least. And I did look at Michelle and John's background. And I still was unsure at the time. But I know this, that they didn't have anything to fight back with. And that all resources of income were being cut off by the rhetoric that was going on in the social media. And they were attacked horrendously. Worse than I was. But as I took up their fight and started talking about them, the subs started dropping off 300 to 400 at a time. My channel went down. Now, as you know, I'm not monetized. Not yet. I have been asked to monetize by YouTube. I can show it to you anytime. I can make a copy of it and show you. And they send me literature, or they send me special emails every month about my channel and about the invitation to come in and be monetized, because they make their money off of people that are making money. And they would like to have my channel. But I'm down. I am down quite a bit. I've lost over 30% of the people that were on my channel. Why? Because I chose to try to help Michelle out. And I declared one day that I was done with it. I was upset. I was not going to go on the attack. That all I was going to do is help John and Michelle out. Please excuse me that I haven't been looking at the chat over here. So when I get done here with my little piece that I'm talking about, I promise you I'll go back in the chat and try to answer questions for you. I felt that I was wrong to try to report in the way I did, because all I was doing was causing heartaches from both sides. But if I could build somebody up and help them and not do any attacks, that was the Christian thing to do. And in fact, immediately I started doing that. One of the first people that I tried to change the rhetoric I was doing was a guy named Thomas Collins. You know, after that, things turned around considerably. Even though I was still losing, the base that was following me were people that believe in Jesus Christ. Some of the others claimed to, but threatened me. The threat I received multiple times daily was being put in court. The threats by that channel was the litigation. He don't care whether he wins or loses. He only wants to break people financially, bankrupt them. And that's what he was doing to John and Michelle. He cut their source of income off with rhetoric. If you don't believe me, ask them what happened. When you run a turtle sanctuary or any sanctuary whatsoever, or ask Robbie with Get Swamped, ask him. You depend on donations to keep it going. The cost of keeping something like that going is horrendous. It's a 24-hour, 7 days a week work, elbow grease. And when you're not helping, they're doing things with the animals or reptiles or whatever you have on your spot, you're raising funds for it. Well, John and Michelle, they're not just don't have a sanctuary, they have a child with a metabolic disease. That is a 24/7 worry, round the clock, always. The stress is horrendous. And then you add in the attacks from well over 1.5 million, if you count all the people in those chats from the people that are making money off from this, large YouTubers, they're making bundles of money. Then you realize why this thing keeps going on. It's not because that John and Michelle are in the wrong, because they're not in the wrong. And the attack on us, the war that was declared the other night, the war, listen to this, war on me or anybody in the YouTube that they seem to think is part of this hate crowd. They think we're the haters. And yet we're the ones that are very upfront trying to help somebody, and the fruits of that labor show. You can see it. And even during the process of building that fence, the verbiage that was used about it being a cheap fence was baloney, or that it was going to fall down, or concrete wasn't used to hold it in, and the posts had no foundation in them, and on and on and on. And there's only one side. People, can you think of anything else derogatory to say out there? You know, that am I to believe that the only people that believe in this system are coming in here and saying positive things? Because here, I've got a chat here, and these people are positive, doing positive things. They're doing everything they can to help somebody that's down and looking forward to whoever is going to need this type of help. Not just John and Michelle, but others that are going to be in this type of a condition. Lisa won't put anything on there unless you bring the proof. If you go on her channel and say, well, I seen him doing whatever it was, she'll say, well, look, please bring me the proof so we can talk about it. We'll show it on her channel. She's very, very good about doing it. And she's being attacked worse than, other than Michelle and John, Lisa is attacked in similar manners. A person that only lives a couple of miles from her, a snowbird, has made death threats as if it's okay. Now, the sheriff's department is investigating it, but that gives you an idea what happens when you stand up and be somebody. Now, and this is before the war was declared. Before the war was declared, this was happening to Lisa. Is there anybody here that thinks that she deserved anything like that? They come on my channel, these people, and they jump all over me because whether I don't care whether it's Lisa or Robbie or Dave, Super Dave, or one of them says a swear word, and all of a sudden I'm an unchristian because I didn't do anything about it. I've already explained people use it as a stress reliever. And a lot of times they're filling a sentence in. If you work around people that are going to swear, you're going to use it in your language. I don't care how Christian you are, it will come out eventually. You learn how to dispel that out of your brain and walk on and not let the minor thing like that bother you. You know, you can't go in a restaurant without hearing stuff like that. If you get up in the middle of a restaurant and start getting after somebody that's swearing, I'm going to tell you, you're going to get the crap beat out of you. It will happen. But very seldom will somebody get up in a restaurant and go over and jump on a table full of construction workers and say, you guys shut that dirty mouth up. It's not going to happen. You know, I worked construction most of my life. And I did my part of swearing just as much. And I understand the concept of swearing. And the fact that it comes out when you don't even know it, and you don't even know you swore half the time because it's common. Most of the time you say it without meaning. You know what my grandmother told me about swearing? She said, Ray, you can swear when you're thinking. The Lord's still going to hear it. And just because it's not a 4-letter word doesn't mean it's not swearing. Now that made me think a few times. How many people out there that got after me because I won't get after somebody in my channel that swore or make note of it have swore privately in their mind or used a word to defame somebody? It's a form of swearing, and you think that's okay. It's only not okay to use 4-letter words. Come on. Let's think about it a little bit. That's just one little item, okay? But it gives you the idea you can be a Christian and you can have swearing around you and you can put it out of your mind. If you make too much out of it, then it's going to get to you eventually. You have to be able to let some things go. You can't carry the world on your shoulders. A matter of fact, on every day, I have to pray to the Lord to take some of the pressure off if I create it. I'm the worst one to create pressure on myself. I try not to let it get to me. Do I like it when somebody comes on there and says, hey, Ray, you let him get away with this? Who am I? I'm not the preacher. I'm not a priest. Oh, my. You know, I got on there and I gave a lecture about forgiveness. And I know it went over the head of a lot of people out here. And I'm not saying it's going over the head of anybody in my channel. I'm just saying that there's people out there that once they get into the mire of going after people, forgiveness is the furthest thing from their mind. Hate is there. It's in their heart. And it's eating them up. And they don't hear anything but hate. They cannot hear the goodness of the Lord puts out there. They don't know what the free gifts of the Lord are. These lawsuits, you think the Bible says something about the lawsuits? Well, they do. Jeremy knows what it says. He would have you believe the fire and brimstone part of the Bible, and that's fine. People use it to their advantage. They use it for an excuses to attack. I don't. You see, my Lord is a forgiving person. He forgave me of my sins. His only Son came on earth and died for my sins. And only asked that I ask forgiveness so that I can be at the Lord's table. But these people that come along and declare war and make my hell on earth, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What makes them think that they're in charge of this world? Talking like a 6th grader, a tattletale. Did you hear this? Did you know that? Oh, my goodness. Does that sound familiar to you? It should. Yeah, I'm upset. I'm upset. I'm upset somebody had the audacity to come after me for something like that. I hope they're happy. They're trying to chase down somebody who can't run. No, I can't run 20 feet. Nope, can't do it. I'm alive because the Lord is letting me live. That's why. There's a lot of things I can't do anymore, but the things I can do, I'm happy to do them. My glass has always been at least half full, never half empty. And I wish everybody out there could be the same way. It's hard for people to understand sometimes that if you have a love of the Lord, you have a love of all the people the Lord put on this earth in some way or not, and you give them every chance you can. But you can't stop the people that hate so bad, they declare war on you. Have you ever felt that bad about somebody that you had to declare war on them? Come on. You know, when I look out at all those channels that work so hard to bring this thing to an end, instead of making it live and live, why would you want to make something live that is so terrible? I looked in one of the channels the other night, and there was somebody in there making Antichrist comments. I immediately got out of the channel. It reminded me of before the second coming of the Lord. Is the Antichrist living on earth right now? It's possible. When I look at stuff that's going on out there, so many people hate each other. In our own country, when we decide who's going to be president, 50% were mad and 50% were happy. And they're mad at each other for voting for the opposite party. I can't believe it. People have got mad at me because I'm pretty conservative. Other people have been mad at me because I'm liberal enough that I like to help people out, that I think we need to help people that can't help themselves. We need to help them. That's part of our calling. The people that have to hate and tear people up, that's not doing the Lord's calling in any such manner. None. That person that had a comment in there that was very Antichrist comment. It makes me physically sick. People like that. And it's okay to do it in certain comments. If they're making enough money on the channel, people can say anything they want. They just let them do it. You know what happened the other night? Now, you guys know that I've said my piece about how I feel about David Otter, right? The benefactor. Well, he went on one of the channels and told them that he had checked Lisa out and that he felt that she did what she said she was going to do, that it was all clear and it was okay, that he had checked her out. And the next thing you know, the channel blew up. He was a coward. Spent half the time telling him how bad it was, and then half the time trying to talk him into the channel. Come on, we'll help you out. And then going right around and saying, you're a coward. The guy couldn't control his emotion to the point he didn't know whether to cuss this guy out or beg his help in coming back because he wanted his money. Why does something like that happen? You know that when it happens, money is the evil in that whole thing. Money. And yet, if you don't have any, you are squashed, steamrolled, put away. I don't know how John and Michelle feel about it when this person gets up there and declares war. They've had everything thrown at them you can, from a song trying to take their daughter away, the angel of death at night, to threats of grabbing her, to GoFundMe's for a lawyer to go after her, keep him in court. Why? I ask you, why would we do that? Why is it allowed? This venue that lets me speak on here right now has allowed this thing to go so long. I get hits against my channel because I'm trying to stop this stuff. When I took down my channel, took the stuff off from it, there were people on there 24 hours a day trying to find things wrong with the videos. They didn't come from John and Michelle. Not one of her people tried to come after me then. I can tell you one person that turned my head quickly. The one person that stuck up for John and Michelle way back when I said the epitaphs I had was a person named Marla Hughes. That's somebody that stuck by through thick or thin. And she's under the gun because she has spoke up and still speaks up every day for Marla and John, or for Harley and John and Michelle. Every day. She's never wavered. It's always been there. It's always there. She never cussed at me once. Nope. No threats. Never made a threat. She just said, go back and look, Ray. Just go back and look. Please go back and look. I did. It's in black and white. When you look at what went on and you looked at the background, it scares the devil out of you. If you're a Christian, it makes you glad you're a Christian because you don't have to put up with the ways of the devil. My opinion, this whole thing is my opinion. You don't have to worry about it. I don't want it to carry over on any of you guys. I don't want you attacked because you listened to my channel. I don't want you attacked because of a comment you made. You know, watch your comments. It's all so that you don't get in trouble. You don't need to get in trouble over me. I would stick up for you just as I would for John and Michelle, as long as you're leading a good life, a fruitful life, that you're walking the right path. I don't think there's anything wrong with a Christian fighting for people that need the help. Nothing. I'm attacked daily for that. Daily. I've been told about how I'm not a Christian so many times. I have to look to make sure it's still me in the mirror because does my outlook look that way? Do I look like the devil? I didn't like it when I started seeing some of that satire out there. And I mentioned it a couple of times and it got worse. You won't believe this, but there's a couple of women out there that are attacking me, have never met me, and I don't think they've ever been in my chat. But they seem to know me. Why would they do that? They have no idea who I am or what I'm about. But the attacks that you see out there right now, in the next few days, they'll more than double or triple. I can guarantee you that. When I get the emails, okay, it's like a warning of things to come. Who knows? I mean, I'm just an old guy sitting here in my garage trying to get some of my knowledge over to some of you out there that are willing to listen. Like before, I told you, I can't run, and I won't run. And when I was younger, when I could run, I didn't. It wasn't in my DNA. In the same token, I wouldn't have chased you down to try to get at you either. Not that I couldn't run you down, probably. It's just, why would I want to? And that's what makes me wonder, why would they want to run me down? Why would they do that? Because they don't like my opinion? They could give an opposing opinion without attacking my name or anything else. They could. But they choose not to. They'd rather tear me limb from limb. You know, I know how Christ probably felt way back when they crucified him. And he knew that his friends were, some of them weren't really his friends. It's unfortunate. And not that I feel like I am Christ. I'm just telling you, I think I know how he felt. I'm way, way below what Christ ever was. Like I say, I'm just a Christian. I don't measure up to the Christian things, but I try very hard. We all have a soul we have to build and take care of and do things. We were given a soul at birth, and that is something that we make different and we bring up. That we've been given all these things and knowledge and all that stuff, and we are going to have to show our soul to the Lord someday. That's Judgment Day, because it's something that we molded, the gift that He gave us to build on. I know about everybody in my chat out there, and I don't, but I hope that you feel the same way I do and have the liberal ideas about helping people out. Now, the fact that I'm conservative in other things, whether it be business or laws and things that we should do, because I feel that we should be sociable and compatible with society. But that doesn't mean you have to allow the devil his due when it comes to his right to spew his demonous ideas and things and attacks. No, I don't go for that at all. Way back when I asked Christ into my life, and it's a great feeling, but along with that, there's certain things that happen sometimes, and you look at the Lord and say, why? Why does that happen? And if you don't go back into the Bible and start reading the verses out of the Bible, if you don't, you won't understand the workings of our Lord, the stories that are there that prepare you for life of what's ahead of you, because history repeats itself. People, the people we see out there are similar to the people of the Bible. Different times, but the personalities. Cain and Abel, being brothers, couldn't be more opposite. And yet, when they say if you have the mark of Cain on you, they're not patting you on the back, I can tell you that. Well, now I'm going to look at the chat, and if you have some questions or anything that you want to put in there, I'll gladly do my best I can. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can enlarge any of this or not, but okay. Oh. That's why I believe Jeremy won't win. I trust God to stand with Ray, who speaks the truth and looks out for people without mocking. Ruth, there are times where I've mocked, since I've been on here, other people because of something they said, and I've done it with, verbally. And there's been times where I left something up they said so that other people can do it. So I'm not without sin when it comes to mocking somebody. But it does affect you on a regular basis. I wouldn't recommend for people to do that, but I can't say I haven't done it, because I have. Yeah, it says here, a church had to fire Jeremy and trust and believe. That's why his record is sealed. Just to let you know, if you're affiliated with a church and you get fired, it won't show up that you were fired. They may not stand up and recommend you for another post, but they're not going to say anything derogatory about you that I'm aware of. If they did, I'm not so sure it's a church I'd want to attend. What happens in a church or church cleansing themselves is within that body, rather than be spread out in case those people can come to Jesus later on that were in the wrong in the first place. Like I say, most churches won't say why somebody was let go. And most of the time, they actually give the person a chance to resign rather than to be fired. I can tell you, I know firsthand of a minister that had to leave and he'd had relations with one of the people in the parish. And in no uncertain terms, he was going to leave, but it was never mentioned outside of the church as far as I know. Okay, let me speed this up a little bit because I put it on hold for a minute. It says, we kind of live by the place he got fired from. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 4:14. That was by Kurt Chales. You must learn from your mistake and change your ways. That's true. I can tell you I make mistakes every day in some manner. But I try to keep it to a minimum. Legal fees for John and Michelle. Oh, great. Road King's got it up there. Those are the legal fees for John and Michelle. That's for all their cases they have pending. And it is a pretty good company. So please, or a firm rather, please do it. I just noticed it in there. Road King put it up. Says, Tanya, I told my daughter today, this life brings so much joy. I'm adding flowers in every place I can. 30 minutes later, I asked a question and was being screamed at. I walked away, heartbroken. Wow. Kim says, hi, Ray. I don't wish bad on folks, but I do believe what comes around goes around. Eventually it does. The things that happened here, on our life on earth, we have to answer for it. And I truly believe that the day is getting close for the second coming of Christ, and that it's going to be sooner than later that this is happening. There's too much happening and going on right now in the world that the goodness seems to be on the short end of the stick right now. And I don't know how to explain it. It's just a feeling. Oh, let's see. John Cook's in here. Hey, how about you? There he is. It has nothing to do with me. It's only for Michelle. I think John's talking about the money in the court things up there. Oh, let's see. Tanya says, Satan is not going to steal my joy, and I know God gives it back. Yes, that's true. We all make mistakes, but a real Christian is bothered in their heart, and they will repent. Yep. Most of the time, when a Christian does something wrong, it's almost like a jolt. I told you I swear from time to time. I have in the past. And there are times where one of the worst things you can do is use the Lord's name in vain, but it might be that you use the Lord's name, but not necessarily in vain, but not in a prayer either. And if I unconsciously start to say the Lord's name and it's not in a prayer, I can feel it immediately. All those years of swearing don't go away just because you get old. The things you do follow you to your grave. Suzanne says, thinking you'll be forgiven because you believe, but sin on a daily basis. I don't think that's what God meant. You will pay for those sins one way or the other sooner or later. Yeah, it's unfortunately, people think that you could ask for forgiveness and no matter what, you're going to get a place by the Lord. When you sin, you sin. And I'm not saying one sin's worse than the other, but it's still that way. And everybody here, you can be the best Christian in the world, but your thought process it's still a sin sometimes. So be careful. The Lord hears your thoughts. It's just because you don't verbalize it doesn't mean you didn't sin. I pray for everyone involved in this mess. I say an extra one that will repeat. Oh, let's see here. I'm having trouble reading that darn thing. And he has a long life to live yet. May God come back into his life. Let's see. Bearded says, "You really want to hear the Lord's name in vain? I have to say, I'm sorry to God." That's how I am most of the time. I understand. It is said that can't be unsaid. Also, do can't be forgotten. Be careful what you see and do. Kim B, deleted by Road King. Okay. Kim, I don't know what you said, but be careful what you say. Please. Oh, let's see. Karma will get Jeremy one day. He will not know what to do with himself. I, I honestly believe he don't know what to do with himself now most of the time. Uh, there's always, if there's any goodness at all in a person, there'll be a fight going on within them inside all the time. When they do the things that are against the will of the Lord, they will always fight that. Let's see. God is forgiveness. God, everyone can ask for forgiveness. That's true. Please spread the word on the legal fee site for Michelle. If the judge reads my motion when I'm allowed to file in my case, should be thrown out. So I won't need a lawyer. Screenshot this. Who knows? All right, John. Says your sound is in and out, Ray. That's probably because I was doing that. I'm sorry. I'll talk into the mic. Let's see. I can't listen to Nikki says I can't listen to Jeremy's videos. They're the ones that are putting out lies and hatred. It makes me so angry. I must say something I shouldn't. So I stay away. I understand completely, Nikki. The hardest thing to do is when a person is wronged is to not at least say something back or try to get it taken care of. And like I say in here, I truly believe this would have went away a long time ago, except for the fact that there's so much money involved in keeping it alive. That, to a lot of people, it may not make sense, but money guides some people, and they'll do anything for it. And the more they get, the more they want. It's never enough when you get to a certain point. And they don't count dollars, they count percentage increases. It isn't even money anymore that they call about it. It's a way of life for a lot of people. The more they accumulate, the happier they are. Cat Lady says she'll replay when she gets home. Okay. I hope you have a safe journey home. It says, I'm not sure if someone is talking about the things I say. They may have me blocked. No, Kim Shu, I can see what's going on. The love of money is the root of evil. And it's very true. But if you love money more than you do the Lord, it certainly is an evil exchange. Let's see. Rin says, I've got to go. Daughter needs me. All right. See you later, Rin. Stacy said, King Po, hope King Paco. Good. Hope all is well with you. Let's see. Cat Lady, I am home now. Just couldn't comment when driving. Oh, okay. Pep says, have a great day, Ren. Bearded said there was a song from, I think, the 80s. It's called Money, Money Changes Everything by Cyndi Lauper. Well, listen to the lyrics. Says here, hopefully he will see the light and start following it. His world is going to be very dark. Some people are not going to make it. I'm just telling you. Uh, it's unfortunate that people forget the right path that they should be on, or they choose the wrong one and won't go back. G Sky says, "Do you have an email?" I believe sometime in the next 48 hours it will be pasted all over the internet. I got doxxed a few months ago on by some of the stuff that Shockett put out there, and what happens is when you get doxxed like that, like I said, there's over 1 million people out there trying to come after people that are trying to help John and Michelle out. And literally, if you take the channels, it's over 1.5 million that are following those channels. And it immediately raises like a tide coming in, a tidal tide. And that's really the only reason I hadn't pasted my email address up there, is because it would take me more time to try to knock it down than what I could read, because it's so overwhelming. Even in my chats, when I go to bed at night and I get up the next day, sometimes there's more more people from those channels on there than from my channel. In other words, even though I may have, say, 30 or 40 chats, legitimate chats, sometimes there's almost that many on there from another channel attacking me during the night hours, or when I'm not on here for some reason watching it. And I try to keep my channel as clean as I can, and either remove the people or remove the comment, or both. And the people that have gotten overbearing on my channel, where they just didn't want to leave it rest, there's I think over 400 right now sitting there. If you were to count the people just threatening court actions and things like that, I would say I was receiving somewhere around 3 or 4 on everything that I put up at one time, of those people saying, "We're taking a screenshot, you're going to go to court." That type of a comment. And you've already seen that a part of my name is in the litigation there. And the other day, with one of the YouTubers declaring war, all of us out here now probably have to be a little more worried about those people in the chats that follow blindly. Some of these people are off in left field. Here's what I'll do. There's a couple of channels out there that talk way left field somewhere. If you watch, what is it, Sperm Trooper or something like that, or his channel, sometimes he gets, way out there. But even small channels out there that say things, their people get in there and they'll come onto my channel and start raising Cain with me. And some of you guys on here probably don't realize it, but they've used some of the things you said on their channel. I've seen, like Peb's name, she's a mod in here, but she was on one of the channels the other day. They took a screenshot, and she just happened to be part of that screenshot. I don't know if they meant to her what she had said in there or not, because I've never seen Peb say anything negative about anybody out there. But what happens is, if somebody ahead of you or below you says something negative, they take multiple people and they'll put it in that screenshot and say, "Look at here, this is what's going on in those channels." Okay. I can bet over half the fake Hale's minions have never watched one of Jem's videos. If they did, they wouldn't back him like they do. It's not that they don't watch them. It's they're not going to listen to anything any of us say. Some of the things that have been on set of my channel are almost identical to what was said the day before or the night before or even an hour before on one of those channels. Let's see where else it says it. Cat Lady says they did that to me earlier in the week. Yeah. If that don't work, he makes up stories about hits and such. Yeah. Tanya said, Psalms 1:6, for the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Yep. And it could happen, Sodom and Gomorrah disappeared in, in literally minutes. There was nobody there worth saving, and it was gone. And that could happen not to just a city. It could happen to any channel with the people that are in it if they get that many sick people in it. Like I say, when I was in that channel the other day, the things that were being spewed were awful, really awful. So I feel bad for the followers of Jeremy that only listen to his videos and do no investigating, mainly the elderly. I think that's most of the viewers, and they take everyone he says to heart. People that get up there in age are lonely. With myself, my wife, I've been married quite a few years. You guys have all heard I've 62 years, 62 and a half years, and I have somebody. But there's so many people close to my age that have long ago lost their partner. And if they get a pat on the back of any kind, they go gaga over it. I mean, even somebody just talking to them, and they fall in love with that person. And I'm not talking about literal love, like a man and woman. They just love that person. And Jeremy has a way of talking to different people, and he appeals to donors. He gets on there. I don't know if you've ever seen that one time when he's laying there and he's having a heat problem, and he's got high blood pressure and anxiety and all these things. But a second later, everything's okay. I worked in the construction industry, and I tell you one thing: when people are having heat prostration, sometimes they'll get very white up in these areas. Okay, and sometimes the lips will turn purple, and their eyes get very, very light. And most time they get sick to their stomach and throw up. I didn't see any of that in those videos. And that's not. I wasn't there, so I only seen what was put out there. And there's things that you can do to make yourself look, like you're having a problem. Now, me, I take heart medicine to slow my heart down, and most of the time, it's between, let's say, 40 and say 46 beats a minute. And most of you know that's fairly slow. But when it gets up over 50, my blood pressure starts coming up with it. And that's why they do that. And when I first went on that type of a blood or that type of medicine, was back when I was in my 60s, and I'd had a stroke, and my blood pressure used to get up over 200. And the fluctuation, they think may have caused, like something coming loose somewhere in there, and it made it through everything and got into my brain. It caused a certain amount of permanent damage, but when you're young enough, you work part of it out. Right now, I have saliva comes out of my mouth on one side sometimes, and my right side is the side that's somewhat affected from the stroke from way back to be 16, 17 years ago. To give you an idea how long something like that can last. We all have are things that get to us. It just happens. It's no big deal, though. You learn, if you're lucky enough to be able to walk this earth, that's a good thing. It really is. But, that one woman, Mary, in Otter Creek, that I don't know if she had a heart attack or stroke, but she had to go in rehabilitation for a while and all that. Uh, when Jeremy was giving her the bad time in there over that water bill, I mean, she barely comes up to his shoulder and barely touched him, and was ticketed for assault. And you all seen the video when he was in the sheriff's department. He insisted that she be charged. I mean, this big guy that claims he was assaulted by that little clerk that was, I mean, I believe she was in her 70s at that time. I don't know if she's close to 80 or not, but how can you go home at night thinking you caused somebody like that to have a problem? And people came into my channel when I mentioned it, and they said, well, he was being cheated. She deserved that. I looked at her and I said, money? That's a reason you would do something like that to a person? Money? You want him to pass away? You want to take life away from him? I mean, there's something wrong with somebody that thinks that way. But that was one of the minions in the channel coming back and tell me how wrong I was because of the way I felt about it. When you really look into the reasons given for these attacks, and you look at where it came from, the reasoning for it, you get to understand what kind of people are collected by people like that. And they come in there, they just do that. But older people, whether it's like myself or not, put yourself in reverse. And I would almost bet it's mostly women that are given to him that are widows. I'd almost bet on it. That widows are very big donors when it comes to giving money for things like that, and people have to watch to make sure they don't get overrun. I mean, I even seen a comment from a woman in there, about their mother or grandmother that had given all this money away when they shouldn't have. And it was hard to break them away from that. And you hate to put them in receivership because it's so hard to do that to an older person where you take their life over, where they can't make a decision anymore. It'd just be hard. And that can happen to any of us when we get up there in age. We can lose our ability to control how we operate. And a lot of times, a person like that might write a check and then forget all about having written it, not even know that they did it. And a day later, write another one and say, sorry, I told you I was going to write it. And then the next, a day or two later, they write another check, then double pay for something. It happens a lot to older people. Oh, love this channel, love the wisdom, the truth, and all the around godly words spoken. Thank you, Tanya. It's all for content at other people's expense. That's what most of it is out there. It says Mary's getting better, but it took a lot out of her. Yeah, I kind of figured it probably did. And I doubt if she'll ever be the same. When something like that happens to you, it makes you worried to even touch somebody. I mean, I guess it don't make sense to me. And I'm sorry, I can't think like some of those people do. It's just too far out in left field. Pep says that she's always in her prayers, and it'd be good for everybody to do the same thing for Mary. Even be given a name like what she was given, and undeserved. Understanding that a clerk works at the pleasure of the consul and the mayor, and that when you go after a town or city clerk, it's normally not their fault for what's going on. They're just a conveyor of the message. They're not the inventor of a message, but the conveyor. So, but there's people out there who take advantage of that, and If she was 6'2" and weighed 225 pounds, do you think the same thing would have happened? There's people out there that, or they just act different. I talked a little bit ago about the way Tug had interacted with David R. when he went in there and defended his actions with two Lees in the pond, to Lisa in particular. And that guy come unglued. And I don't know if any of you seen it or not, but he come unglued to make it scary. And he would berate him and calling David R. a coward, and then do everything he could to talk him into coming in and joining his group, as he called it. Now, when I went after David, I never called him those types of names. I called him the benefactor and somebody trying to control the channels. I mean, that's what and I haven't changed my mind about David R. as far as maybe the intent at the time. It says here, Ruth says, Ray, what happened to Mary was a red flag to me about Jeremy and his pose as a servant of Jesus Christ. Christ would have never, ever, ever done anything like Jeremy did that day. He should be ashamed, but that really showed me what he was about. That's not something a normal person would do. That's why I'm saying there's a wicked demonic spirit in Jeremy. Believe me, I think the devil has a lot to do with what's going on this earth at this time, and maybe in these very channels from the way things are going. And it's my opinion, obviously. And if I don't say it's my opinion, I'll probably have a dozen more lawsuits on me. I can't offer advice out here to anybody, because any advice, real advice, is taken in the wrong context. They will hang on every word that's said out here. And yet when you look at the channels out there and the things that they're saying and the way they're talking, the people that attack my channel spew the same exact words. It's amazing what can be said on our channels. And a lot of times those same people will follow them and say, Ray, you need to come and see what happened on, they'll tell me about it. And I'll go take a quick look at it, and it's like, wow, what's wrong with these people? There were some channels out there that didn't have hardly anybody on them, but they had a few. And they're making their money just trying to screw with my name. Oh, and that's the other thing I wanted to warn you guys. There on one of the channels, there was people on there that had my name and also Bruce's. And when I looked at it, I thought, what is going on? They're making comments on these channels. And for a while, I was getting blamed for making comments, and I hadn't said a word out there, quite frankly. But my name was there. But what really kind of threw it off was Bruce's and mine would appear one after the other on there. And I figured, well, it's either a bot or it's one person doing it. And they were using our names. And you can do that. You can, have a couple of channels and do all kinds of stuff and use somebody else's name and get away with it. I'm just telling you. Well, I know because they did. If you see my name and it don't sound like something I'd say, it probably wasn't me. It is out there, folks. It's one way people like to use anything that they can to disparage anybody here. The people here are under attack, even though you're not going in other channels and attacking the people in their chats or their mods. They're in our chats going after the mods and the people that are subs to our channel. They're doing that, and they screenshot it. They do all kinds of stuff, and they use it to feed their channel, and their channel's making money. I mean, people are. I wish you could see the amount of money that goes through there on their super chats. It's just boom, 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 boom. And the other night, I think it was Megan spent maybe 10 minutes or something like that, thanking all the people, because she put all the people that donated on the end of her program and started going through it. And it's surprising. You can get on there and spew hate for an hour and make more money than you could at any regular job. And so if you wonder why it's happening and why it's staying out there, you can see it there. I'm not telling you to go over there and look at their channels by any means. What you do is strictly up to you guys. That I don't want to promote their channel, and I don't want to unpromote them. They are what they are. It's the times I go over there and look at it is because either my name has appeared or they were spewing something that was way out in left field or something. And I don't know what they really believe in their mind. My mind don't think like theirs, obviously. And it's not because it's old. It may be old, but I'm not impudent. Let's see. It says, when that happened to Mary, that is when I stopped watching Durham. So pathetic. Wolf in sheep's clothing. I thought about that same sentence quite a few times, Tanya. Oh, it's common sense for your thoughts and opinions, and it's all common sense or evilness. Fake Hales went after Ray yesterday. Pictures, docs, names of, I think, a family member, probably that channel you're talking about. It's at that Facebook account, probably. I can tell you that I do have at least one email kind of warned me ahead of time by one of the YouTubers, and not the YouTubers that follow my channel, by the way. Yeah, he says he still talks about Mary and Marilyn. Yeah, and I don't, Marilyn was just a owner of the warehouse. I mean, she was trying to get it ready to sell. It takes a lot of balls to go after somebody for $1 million when that's she can't defend herself or anything else anymore. It's really unfortunate. Don't forget, he's got that thing at the front of his schoolhouse there. Isn't that supposed to be a makeup of that person had the warehouse? Isn't that my understanding? It says here, when he said he did his Restoring the Love, what a joke. Then made 4 or 5 videos about it, making double the money he spent. Yeah, it says here, you've seen Megan Fox using LP Voice to read this super chat and stickers. Yeah. Do you ever notice that a lot of things that are done on there are more like in reality, about a 5th or 6th grader, that mentality? And they get so tickled that they find out just a little bit of dirt and they just blow it up into a dust storm. You ever notice that? It's really something. When, like I say, in the next 24 to 48 hours, the internet's going to blow up with their thoughts on me and background. They're going to do as thorough check as they can on my background, believe me. We can look at it with the entertainment that it is, I suppose. I don't know. If they find or they get their jollies off because of going after some old guy like me, well, the only one who's going to help them is the Lord if they confess their sins, I guess. I don't know. There's nothing I can do to stop them or to make them change their mind. Believe me, they're beyond anything I could do for them or against them. That's just the way it is. I'm stuck in this little garage. Travel. The only reason I got rid of my motorhome a year and a half ago was my wife and I can no longer travel. The age got to that point. There's the things that we can do make us very happy, and I'll have to take you. I'll try to get some pictures up and show you. Our yard is immaculate. My wife was out there mowing it today. She loves that great big mower, and the mower's 10 times bigger than she is. And she does an excellent job. She handles that like a pro, much better than I do. Uh, she started using it. I had to have a back operation, and I couldn't operate it. Brand spanking new mower, and so she got on that thing, and it's her time to think. She just, she'll get out there. And the other day, or a week ago, I got out on this little John Deere and did what I could do out here, but she she made me look almost like I'm an invalid or something. The way she goes at it, she's a very determined person. I guess that's why I love her so much. And we do have a lot of fun. There's nothing wrong with growing old. You just have to psych yourself into the things that mean more to you. And here's one thing I can give you all for hope when you get in, and I call it the final 20, by the way, because when you hit 80, you've already surpassed what the average age is. And so it's a gift every single minute after you get to my age. But the things that you didn't look at when you were in your working years and raising children, stuff like that, was the things that are out there. I mean, just here in this yard, it's full of flowers. The patio's all decorated up, and trees. We planted trees, some of them over 20 years ago, and some of them are big. I mean, they're big. My neighbors, they've got trees that are 60, 70 feet tall. It looks like a big, beautiful park out here. And I live on the edge of town, and I mean, I'll be doxxed so bad in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to see my house from the air. I'm telling you that all of you who are patient, you're going to see these channels that are going to attack me every way they can. And they're going to show you my bones with the flesh off from it. I can just tell you that's coming. They're very predictable in what they do. The warning shots were out there. And the other day with this war declared, not by me, by somebody else named Megan, all the the gloves are off as they speak, I guess. And they feel vindicated because they're going to try to tear somebody up my age. They can't do very little. One thing you can do for me is you can help me build up by subscribing, do a thumbs up, follow my channel, help me in the days to come because I'm certainly going to need some help, and help John and Michelle out. Make sure that information is needed in our endeavors that are coming up, because this battle or this war that they're talking about means that they're going to use every means, no matter what it is, to attack people like myself, Lisa, Michelle, John, Super Dave, Bruce. Bruce was attacked unmercifully, him and his family, to the fact that he had to ask to be relieved of his job. The one thing it did was when they went after him and he asked off from it, he was given the opportunity to show his case in its entirety, including the proof of what was going on. And he did that. They opened the door. They opened Pandora's box. I think when they declare war on all these channels, including mine, that they're going to do the same thing. They're going to open up Pandora's box. I don't think they can help it. I think that their intelligence is being tested beyond the essence that they'll ever reach. The intellectual exchange is sadly lacking, and it's unfortunate. They think that intellectual intercourse is dirty words. I'm telling you, I don't know if they're smart enough to realize what they're even talking about. But that's their problem. That's on them, not me. That's my opinion. Obviously, that's how I feel about it. And I didn't bring it up. They did. They threw down the gauntlet. They drew the lines, and they change the lines on a daily basis because they cross them. When they want to cross the line, they brush it out, step across, step back, put the line back up. You've seen it over and over and over in their chats and in the videos that's put out there. But mark my words, if you want to see what my place is like, you watch over the next few days or a week. you're going to see it over and over and over. They're going to wear it out. That's their way of attacking and doxing and doing all kinds of stuff. And think about this: the things they may say may not be pretty. Who knows? And I'm not the only one that's on the firing block right now, people. And protect yourself out there. Like I say, watch what you say in the chats, because right now they love to take the whole chat and post it. And I mean, I'm not worried about it, as long as it's not illegal. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'll guarantee you. You can say the things that are legal, but if it's illegal, then I'll try to protect you by taking it off. It doesn't mean that I'm mad at you. It just means that I would rather protect you than allow it out there. So just be understanding over the next few days. Oh, let's see. They don't, as far as I know, they haven't served Guapo or Dave either. And Dave is past the limit. I don't know if it's a matter of separate lawsuits that will be coming up. I don't know if Jeremy backing off on anything, whether it be served or not served. I think right now, and channels such as mine, maybe, just maybe, they're going to do everything they can to tear us apart and then refile. If he can't get it through the first time, that doesn't mean he's going to stop. In my opinion, he's going to keep it up until he's stopped in some way, either through the legal authorities or he just gets tired. And he's not going to get tired of attacking. You know that. Anybody that spends 10 years suing a wife and the kids are almost completely grown up, you know that they don't give up. And I just wonder, when all the kids are out of the house, if she's still going to be in court. Who knows? I feel sorry for her. I mean, for the few years that she was married, she's sure paying for it after she got her divorce. And it's really unfortunate. Think about it. If you were married to somebody like that came after you every year with a new lawsuit, how would you feel? And would you think it was safe? You know that John and Michelle don't feel safe, and they did everything they could to secure their yard. And this guy goes over the top of their fence and makes pictures and sends them to the world. And the guy that made death threats, as far as a satire, like the angel of death is coming after your child, and then people come from other states and yell at you over the fence. And then all of a sudden, even though there's a stand your ground law in Florida, this guy that's yelling at you and screaming at you from the other side of your fence, you come out to investigate and you go to jail for 40 days and 40 nights. Man, you talk about biblical. Noah on his ark spent 40 days and 40 nights without seeing land. I mean, just think about it. This guy didn't get to see the outside of his jail cell. And he was not apologized to. He couldn't bail himself out because he had no money. And this guy didn't come back to court. He was thrown out for or dismissed for lack of proof or anything else. And this guy, he gets money off from PayPal and spent it on computer and a bike and what else is it? I don't know what it is. And he put out on his thing there that he did it because the people in his chat and his channel told him go ahead and spend it on that stuff. And then he gets in a fight with the woman that was with him over the money that was in his chat. Yeah. And then I guess somebody in Otter Creek, tried to help her out, get back there so that she could refile. So, I mean, think about it, people. Over and over and over, litigation and innuendos, and this stuff goes back and forth. Follow the money and you see where it's coming from. I don't make anything. And poor Lisa and Tori and now Kendra that's in there and get swamped. I mean, the hard work they put in coordinating and trying to get money to help out a family. I mean, night and day, they're doing their best, and they're threatened. They're threatened, Robbie, I don't know if you're out there, but you got threatened and before you even said a word. I know I'm laughing a little bit about it, but the ignorance in the whole thing. And nobody, I don't know if they've ever followed the money. Maybe somebody should do accounting according to what the stats are. Take these channels and show the minimum amounts that they would have made, minimums, okay? And then show the maximum amounts. And that isn't on merch. That's strictly on ads from the proposed what they get on YouTube. Just put it all on there and say, look how much money supposedly was made here. And then you get an idea of why this thing is kept alive. A neighbor dispute. And they're after people like me. I'm not a neighbor. All I want to do is to help protect somebody. That's it. Somebody that deserves protection. They did their very best. What if you couldn't go to Walmart? And it might not be Walmart. It could be Kroger's. It could be any grocery store or any clothing store. What if you couldn't leave your house and go there because on camera they seen you leave your property? Or somebody working there turned you in. You know, it might be that somebody at Walmart turned John in for being into Walmart. And the cameras showed him looking for John. Now that ought to tell you something. Am I ranting today? Probably. I think part of it is to think that, now I'm a veteran, okay? And now this channel, this woman declared war on me. And other channels like mine, because she thinks that somebody made satire. Lord help all of us. I was going to say Lord help her, but I'd rather the Lord help us all. I'm not going to isolate her out for getting help. We all need the help. So see how Omar does not talk about it, and since he has twice as many subs as Germ uses his name for content. I wonder what he thinks about that. I've only seen Omar one time at Gatorland, and that was a long time ago. I'm not even sure who that is. It's way out of my bracket. Tony says, I love you, Rance ran away. Pep says, you're fine, Ray. How dare JC try to check notes, go to Walmart? Listen, I'm telling you that film shows Jeremy coming around from their side of Walmart, coming across and coming up to where John was. He had to look around to see which aisle he was in, held his camera up and started yelling at him. And everybody that was up close there were looking back at Jeremy. I mean, that's on film, people. I'm not BSing. I'm not telling a lie. That's on film. And the other thing, think about this. Now, John's in front of his house on a road, blacktop, using a walker. He's measuring out for the fence. Jeremy comes along and says, 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. Slows the vehicle down, gets pretty close to him. Michelle's back there filming it. And she's yelling at John to keep his mouth shut. And John's yelling back at her something. I don't know what he yelled. But you can clearly see he turned his back. You can't go down in a ditch with a walker. Look, I went through a couple of back operations, and I used a walker and a wheelchair during that time when I was incapacitated before and after my operation. I lost the feeling in my legs from the waist down, okay? I still don't have hardly any feeling in my legs anymore. And my feet, they're like a crust. They don't circulate very well. My nerve damage was done from the lower back, the nerves back there. But you go through these operations, you can't move. You're using a walker. How do you get 10 feet away? I don't know. I'm asking. The courts didn't ask. They went after him. He got turned in because he was too close. He was within 4 or 5 feet of the truck because the truck drove up to him. He didn't. How do you catch up with a truck? I mean, ask John. Is John out there yet? John, how did you run up beside that truck and get in trouble? I can't even run today, and I've got both my legs under me right now. Granted, they don't have a whole lot of feeling in them, but I can't run up there. And when I was using a walker, it was almost impossible for me to climb steps. Can you imagine if he'd have run John off into the ditch, how John would have got out of that ditch with a walker? You tell me. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Oh, all right. Says that's what happens when someone shops around for a rubber stamp magistrate. Yep. Tricky says, hello, everyone, just joining us. China. Sheena. Sorry, I didn't mean to misinterpret your name. I know better. He's a monster, Ray. Okay, yeah, I believe it. I don't know what else I can say about this whole situation. And to say that it didn't upset me would be wrong. These people, they think they can take advantage of you because of your age or your capabilities or your incapabilities or whatever it is, and it's okay. I mean, you go after people that end up in the hospital with a heart attack or strokes and stuff like that, or they're so old they can't defend themselves, or getting on the channel and saying that they were going to knock on our doors, knock on our doors and make us cry like a baby and run off. Even if I could, I wouldn't. Even if I could, I wouldn't run off. And he's not stupid enough to get close enough to knock on my door. I don't think. I get this picture when he was trying to show how tough and big he was, and Guapo was backing up laughing at him over his cameras. I know what you're trying to do, Jeremy. I know what you're trying to do. But that time I knew too. Guapo, I got to hand it to him. He's extremely intelligent, and he's got charisma. And he made that guy look like a fool. He really did. And I hate to use that word, but how can you describe somebody that is chasing somebody and they're skipping backwards old enough, laughing at him? I hope you don't think Guapo was scared, because I guarantee you he wasn't laughing. I mean, he was laughing. He wasn't scared. He wasn't crying. He knew what would happen. It'd be a lawsuit. He'd be another one. My hat's off to him. He handled it 100 times better than I could. My patience would have been so thin by then, I would have lost what little I had going for me. But yeah, like I say, I'm glad that he's able to do something like that, and he's still handling it like a good person. He is. Guapo and I don't see the same way on things. He's a different generation, way back there. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate what he stands for. Absolutely doesn't. Someday he'll be my age and he'll say, maybe Ray wasn't so bad after all. I don't know. When I was young, I was taught to appreciate the older generation. We used to love them because we didn't have TV, and very few of us had really, radios we could listen to. And the older people had all the stories, and we'd go and listen to them. In the block I lived in, there was no less than, let's say, 4 of us guys. That there was we called him Grandpa Franks. Okay, he lived on a corner, and he had cataracts so bad he couldn't hardly see shadows. And we'd go down there, and he'd invite us in, and he'd always have some soda or something for us, or we could have coffee if we wanted it to. And we were kids, And he'd always ask somebody to light up a cigarette for him. Of course, everybody volunteered. Because it's a no-no to smoke a cigarette, right? Nobody inhaled. I mean, you couldn't. You'd be coughing. You're too young. You couldn't take cigarettes. But you'd puff on it a little bit and give it to him, and he thought that was the greatest thing in the world. He was a cigarette smoker. But that gives you an idea, difference in attitude and the respect of people that were older. And everybody down there that was older, that was retired, a lot of them were retired farmers, they'd have peach trees and apple trees and cherry trees. And, there was grapevines out in the yard. And anybody come by, you were welcome to anything that was there, anything that was ripe. People felt that way. It was a different world. It's almost like a utopianism here. And we had a creek running by. We could get all the fish we wanted out of there. And my great grandfather's farm was just, I could see it from the front door. I could hunt all that ground between our place and his place up there. Different world, to come up into that and have a feeling for older people. My grandfather, your great grandfather, when he retired, he moved right across the alley from me into my aunt's house. We had relatives around there. I was related to a lot of people in town. He was just an old guy, we felt, with a million stories. That's all. I mean, between my aunt and my grandmother and all her friends, we were more entertained than anybody today. And if we wanted to play a game, these people played cards back then, and they were sharp. You couldn't beat my grandmother unless she let you. She was great at it. She was a genius back then, and that's the way I felt about her. And I always felt that was the way it was going to be when you got older. And I found the opposite is true. With all the things that are out there to do, people don't want anything to do with older people. They're too slow, and they're too idle, and they don't keep up with things. And it's true. I don't keep up with the modern world. A lot of it because I'm not interested in that anymore. That truck right there, that thing's 23 years old. I've got a truck out there that's a 2007. It drives better than this one, but it's harder to work on. I've been looking for this type of truck for a long time, and I had an opportunity. Somebody not too far from me had it. It was a one owner, and I was able to grab onto it. Now, it don't have all the goodies. It don't have a GPS, and it does have power windows and power steering and power brakes, that kind of stuff, and it's four-wheel drive. And it was made for a person just like me, an older guy. And it's got leather interior, all that little goodies that they put in a Luria back then. It is nothing close to that Cadillac pickup truck out there, that AXT. Not even close. But I love this one better because it's simple and easy, and I can work on it. Now, I've got equipment to work on the other one, but it just takes too long. Oh, let's see. Jerm made such an idiot of himself the day he chased Guapo around. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess he's done that many, many days. He's a IDOT. I got a kick out of it, and I can't help it. When I think about it, I laugh because Jeremy couldn't see the foolishness in chasing somebody's laughing at him walking backwards. I think Guapo was skipping. He was, and the look in Guapo's eyes was anything. He was having so much fun that I'm surprised it didn't pay Jeremy to chase him around backwards. I'll bet you anything that when Guapo thinks about it, he chuckles. I almost bet I could just see it. And, everybody that talks about it, they get the same feeling. They laugh about it too. Initially, they look at it and say, gee, what's going on? And then they look at it the second time and say, no. Oh, well. That shows you the difference in intelligence between the two of them and the charisma difference. Guapo laughed about it the whole time. His words. I know what you're trying to do. Oh, goodness sake. You'd have thought that Jeremy would have stopped immediately and turned the other way. Instead, he was down there burning, throwing this light back and forth in his hand like he's going to attack. He knows that he's not going to. It gets me. A few videos that he puts out there, these guys grab his junk when he's mad at somebody. It's like, why are you doing that? What goodness you get out of that? And then describing Guapo's anatomy. God, wow. What kind of a person does that? I'm just asking you. Have you ever done anything like that when you're pissed off at somebody? You use a former girlfriend to discuss it with? Come on. That's so juvenile. I can't believe an adult would even think about something like that. And then they get mad about a satire. Lord help all of us. Oh, I love Jesus, but I probably would have swung without even thinking. Nikki, it would be very hard not to. It would. Like I say, Guapo is very intelligent, and he knows Jeremy. he he knew what was coming. I'm just telling you, he got a kick out of it because Jeremy was foolish enough to follow him while he was skipping backwards with the camera up. He got him. I think I would go with Guapo if he gets called to court. Jeremy will never serve Guapo because Guapo has so much on him in videos, voicemails, and emails. I would suggest that Jeremy make sure there's plenty of people around when he does it. Guapo is no pushover. You can read a person like that, and the one that's quiet and thinking about is the one you want to leave alone. My word, don't. Jeremy would make a big mistake if he thought that he could overpower that guy. He's a young guy. He's not going to take it laying down. Don't corner him in an alley where there's nobody around. You will be the one not walking out. I told you, Ray, and yeah, IDOT. So childish. Yep, that's right, Peculiar. When I saw a video, I lost all respect for Germ. Me too, Nikki. My patience would have ended at the truck door. That's right, Kevin. Germ only tries to put fear into content creators. He has nothing to sue for. He's a freaking bully. Moves all the way. Yep. Peculiar says he won't sue Guapo. Depends on whether he thinks he can get away with it or make content or back off, at his will. He sued without knowing whether he would win or not and actually backed off, and he actually brags about that stuff. So it depends on how much money he thinks he's going to make on it. If Germ did that to me, he would have been flat on his back, and I'm 59-year-old female. Cat lady, I think you're right. Ruth, that guy was up in his face so many times, Guapo really held back. Yeah. No matter what people thought at the time, Guapo came way out on top on that. That one of the dumbest things, in my opinion, that Jeremy ever did was to pull a stunt like that. That was absolutely stupid. You know what the other stupid thing was? You remember when he tried to show that Guapo picked it fight, and he only showed part of the on his phone. He only showed part of the conversation, and then Guapo says, "Well, here's the rest of it. This is in a different video." Guapo showed the whole thing, and Jeremy's the one that did that. Not Guapo. Jeremy did. So there you go. If you take sentences out of context or out of where they were at, but talk about one subject and take something that's said right here and put it into that subject, it looks like you agreed to it. And then you can say, look at that person said over this content. Wasn't even there before. And that's one of the favorite tricks about people that use this venue is to take the stuff out of a chat, remove it from here, and put it into another chat. Works great because you can take somebody's real word, and then that person's got to think about it. How did that happen? And in fact, there's people here that were blamed for things that they didn't say or do that was done by somebody else, and they were given credit for it. And they happened to catch it because they remembered it. Jeremy probably curl up in the ball. Yeah. There's legal fees for Michelle. Road King's got them up for anybody that didn't see it. Please, if you can, please help John and Michelle out, and let's get this thing put to bed as quickly as we can. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Pray. Please pray. Part of my reason to be on today was because I want to make sure everybody understood that war was declared on us that are trying to help Michelle and John out. They're doing everything they can to shut us down. Even an old guy like me, I can't do a doggone thing, but they're still after me. But they're going to make my life miserable. And you're going to get to see the fruits of their labor over the next few days or weeks, because you'll be able to see my home from the air. They'll tell you where I live. They're going to bring everybody in my family up that they can. They're going to do to me what you've seen them do to Bruce, to Michelle, John, to Lisa. I mean, they were showing Lisa's family the other day. My goodness, we've been into this thing how long, and they're still looking for things to do? Oh man, they put her mother's picture up. Her mother has passed away a long time ago. Why would somebody do that? Do you think it would be the same person that would tear up a memorial? I got an idea it would take that same ingenuity to do that, don't you? I mean, who goes around tearing memorials up of somebody that had a bad accident and passed away in front of on the road near your place? Tore it off from somebody else's property, by the way. Of course, they had to prove it was their property. If you remember right, Lisa and put a thing out so that people could hire somebody to come out and check the property lines and put stakes in there and make sure where they were. And sure enough, they were exactly where Tina and her husband said they were. Yep. And that memorial, the pieces to it were stolen. Gone. They're not there. Stolen. Yeah, I said it. You don't like it? Tough shit. Yeah, John says, don't donate if you can't afford it. But those that can, please, let's help. It's not like, if you remember at the town meeting when that woman in a wheelchair came up and gave Jeremy a few bucks and a smile on her face, he was so happy that he accepted the money from her. A millionaire. Yeah. Yep. That's it. The more money you have, the more you want. Let's see. She's trying to stretch her usefulness to JH as much as possible. Let's see. I would like to donate, but I have no online pay apps. Need to talk to Lisa to see what I can do. Yeah, Lisa. Talk to Lisa. I'm sure there's a way, an avenue that can be done. And let me talk to Bruce to see if there's another way. The reason that they're using that particular app, it shows you the amount donated, and that from that you can see how much is needed. That was why that particular app was used, a PayPal. And we'll try to get that taken care of. Ray, notice how he doesn't talk about that property anymore and how he owns all the way past their car post. Debunked. Yeah, he quit talking about that real quick when the surveyor come out and restake the property. It shows you lie, and don't admit to it afterwards. Just go your own way. Let the lie stand, because if you don't come back in there and apologize for it, and then the people that seen it but didn't come back, they think you told the truth that whole time and think you're justified in pulling a memorial. Even if it was your property, you made a promise and then backed out on it. But it was not your property. It belonged to somebody else. You were told about it years ago, and you still did it anyway. That goes to tell you what kind of a person. My opinion is that tells what a person is. Anybody that would remove a memorial, I don't have any hope for him. I just don't. That's my opinion, obviously, but that's the way I feel. I saw that when they just forget all about it, and we don't forget all about it. Question. Bearded said that. Cat lady, I have a box to send to Michelle, and HG might put check in it with it, and Lisa can send it up to Bruce. I knew he would never mention it again. That was peculiar. You're right. He won't apologize or admit that he's wrong. He's not going to do that, because his minions, the people that support him financially, and I'm not going to say morally. Can anybody that backs him say there's anything moral about it? Can anybody say that? Because I can't even swallow it. I can't even think of it that way. People can't be that blind, I don't believe. And that's just me. And everybody out there, you're entitled to what you think. But people that do stuff like this, boy, I'm not so sure what can be done for him in the future. I just don't. I don't know what can be done. This has gone on so long, and the love of money has carried this to new heights. Money and a person is so entitled to collecting money, they declared war. And all these small channels out there that are doing nothing but trying to help a fellow person out. That's all they're trying to do. Oh, let's see. Crazy lady said she will rewatch. Okay. Sometimes it takes a while for the chat to come back up there. Uh, it doesn't always show up right away. Has anybody wondered why he hasn't sued Guapo? My opinion is Guapo knows too much and has the receipts. I honestly feel that if there was anybody he was ever scared of, it's probably Guapo. And the reason being, on everything that you hit, whether it's good sense, charisma, looks, his dictation, Guapo has it all over Jeremy. There is no comparison. That's my opinion. And the other thing is that Jeremy's quite a bit older, and he can never go back and capture what Guapo has. He didn't have it at that youthful age. And I say youthful because he's only 30 years old. Somebody like me is 80. I can only dream about being 30. Well, I can remember how it was when I was 30. But what I'm saying is the jealousy that I feel is there will never give him a moment's peace when he thinks of Guapo out there doing the same things that he does and having a lot of fun. Guapo's out there regardless of what he's making. If you ever notice, he lives a life outside of getting lockers. He goes on vacation. Now, I'll tell you what Guapo did that Jeremy hasn't even thought of probably. Guapo paid his mother's house off. Now, is that a loving son? Do you think Christ would approve that? I think he would. Is Guapo a saint? No. My goodness. Guapo is Guapo. They broke the mold when he came out. And Jeremy's upset because he can't remold it. I know, and I'm laughing at his expense, and I can't help it. He's the one that made the trap and fell into it himself. He did. And his jealousies were his downfall when he went after him out there in that lot. I can't help but think of how that was utterly inane. It was. If it wasn't for some of those things like that, I'd probably been extremely upset with Guapo because he isn't exactly happy with me either. But we both live our own lives, and my channel is much different than his, and I go my way and he goes his way. But I'm happy to watch him once in a while because I think he's okay. He's got it. He's got his piece of the earth, and he's not going to give it up. And somebody like Jeremy is not going to take it away from him. I don't care what he tries to do. Guapo is 10 steps ahead of him. You talk about a chess player. We'll see who reaps the rewards before it's over with. I do believe he's afraid of Guapo big time. You're right, Diane. I do too. That's my belief and my opinion. They did have Richard arrested. They did? I don't think so. I don't know how they could. He hasn't done anything to be arrested for, as far as I know. Guapo's not trying to hurt people intentionally. That is just low. No, I don't think Guapo's going out. Guapo doesn't go out and try to tear somebody up. He's trying to conduct business and be what he is. I mean, you can see it. He's very happy person, go lucky type, and he just wants life. That's it. So if he don't like it, he's going to go his way. He's going to leave you alone. He's not going to waste his time tearing you up or making anything other than that minute somebody asks him, he might say something and he's off and running. That's it. And that's the way life should be. You shouldn't have to sit and spend too much time worrying about somebody else. You just shouldn't. So I think it's a good thing. Oh, yeah, it says Guapo's got the ups on Jeremy by bunch. Can't type. Thanks, Peb's caregiver gave me a cake, roses, and Reese's Pieces. Oh, I like the Reese's peanut butter cups. Let's see. There are no criminal acts to report to law enforcement. It's all on Michael Volp's channel. What happened? Huh. I have to look. I haven't had Michael's channel up for since a few hours ago, and I didn't see anything on there before that. Happy birthday, Jenny. Okay, happy birthday. John had his yesterday, I think it was, the 28th. Sing happy birthday to Jenny. Well, okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenny. Happy birthday to you. I'm sorry that I don't have music to back it up with. I can keep up with all the channels, Kelly. Wow. Let's see. Crazy ladies put all these hearts up. Thank you, crazy lady. Jenny, big heart for you. For beard. Oh, okay. Let's see. Legal fees for Michelle. It's back up there with Road King. Please look if you can. Put a little bit in. Every little bit counts. If you can't, it's understood. Say a prayer, please, and we'll just keep it right on going here. Let's see. Ooh, take a bow. Big hearts and a yay. Uh-oh, Pep said you're so sweet and cool, Ray. Thank you. Like Lisa says, happy birthday to you. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Let's see. Wow, my kids are older than 21. Wow, I'm an old fart. My grandkids are older than that bearded fisherman. My youngest grandkid is, I'm trying to think. I'd think around 30. I'm not sure. Let's see. Bearded, you're about the same age as my son. Jenny, always pray. Yes. Well, I'm starting to wind down, and some of you probably getting hungry for supper. My wife, believe it or not, brought my lunch out to here. I was busy trying to get things ready and doing some research today. So hats off to my wife for being so courteous and bringing me something to eat. It kept me from starving to death out here. I know a lot of people have said that my wife sends me out here because she don't want me in the house, but that's not true. If she had her way, I'd spend my time in the house and we'd burn the garage down. This is my hobby shop, by the way, and I love it. My wife uses it all the time, just like I do. I mean, she was in and out of here today all day too, because while I was in here playing with this darn thing, she was out there mowing the grass. The neighbors probably think I'm a real jerk for letting her do that, but it's not that I let her do it. She loves to do it, and a lot of times we're together when we do it together. When she's doing dishes, I'm drying them. We like to do things together. It's just her and I, and our pets. Our kids are long gone and growing up, and most of our grandkids are growing up. I mean, you talk about getting isolated. The older you get, the more people that get away from you. They go somewhere else, or they're not here anymore. My classmates, most are gone. Taco Thursday. I thought only Taco Thursday. It was Tuesday. Tori is live. Is she live right now? Because if she is, I should get off so you guys can go out there and build her channel up a little bit. She could certainly use some more subs if any of you are looking to help somebody out. Tori has worked long and hard trying to help John and Michelle out. Been an integral part of the two leads in the pod. And everybody that was involved with it, they've been an integral part as well. Um, I fully believe in that channel. I think that the Lord sent them in here to help that couple out in Otter Creek. Oh, Nikki says, I love mowing grass. Bruce says it makes her happy. My wife likes it. I mean, she's really something. If you ever seen her operate it's a 0-turn mower. It's pretty good size, and she makes that thing fly. Filet steak, I like to blow leaves away from the house. Mm-hmm. Pep says, thank you for a great stream. Smile, thing like button friends. Tori is our purple angel. Tori and Kendra both like purple. Have you ever noticed that? Let's see. And Tori just got through with that operation, so make sure you pray that she heals well, so that she'll get back to her same old self and be that tiger again. Oh, Sheena says, see you all later. I'm heading to Taurus. Thank you. Tell her I'll hit the button on the way out, will you? Tell Tori that I'll make sure that I'll hit the thumbs up. For the rest of you, thank you for hanging around with me all day or this afternoon. I appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up if you would. If you're not a sub, please. Well, if you're on here, you're a sub. So because you have to be at least on there for 10 minutes before you can even put a remark. Any way you can help, please do it. Like I say, the war was declared not by me, but by Megan. And she apparently is doing war on everybody out there. And expect to see a lot of things that aren't nice. That's just the way that they attack. I'll try to, if there's something on there that's completely way off in left field and I find it, I'll try to explain it and say that, nope, not today. But we can keep John says, ta-ta, everybody. See everybody at Tori's. Ray, you need to change your time to at least an hour before someone can chat. Yeah. Well, today was one of them days. It took me a while to, it's been a while since I put a live up. And it just took me a while to get this thing where I was willing to get on here and say anything. But when it comes to people that decide to declare and everything that they can do to me, and then people start bothering me with my email, that gets my goat a little bit. And those same people would do everything they can to destroy me. And they are coming. They are coming. And they're not just coming after me. And they've already been using people that were in the chats on their chats on a regular basis. I don't spend much time looking at theirs unless somebody says, hey, they're talking about you or they're talking about your channel. I go in and take a look. And yeah, they do. They take screenshots. They do all kinds of things. Tug over there, he seems to be kind of like a person that puts him in a category, brings him back out at the appropriate time, shows him, makes his comment like a 6th grade telltale, and then goes on with life. This same guy spent a lot of time doing stuff just like that on the Johnny Depp trial. He hasn't changed his stripes. He is what he is. He probably won't change anytime soon. And it seems that Mr. Hales loves to get these kind of people around him. After all, look how long Radass spent trying to do everything he could to make Michelle's life as miserable as he could. Tried to make mine miserable. Tried to make Bruce's look miserable. Used all kinds of things he could to disparage his race, his religion, and his physical attributes. These are the kind of people that hang around those channels that are making money hand over fist. These are the kind of people that hate so much that they don't know what love is. They've forgotten a long time ago what that stuff is. And obviously, everything that I'm putting on here today is nothing more than an opinion, my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, and you don't even have to abide by it. I don't want any of you to get in trouble because you said, well, Ray says and I believe. You don't have to do that. Everybody should have their own opinion of how they feel about it. If I can point you in the direction so you can see it, then I'll point you over there. But you have to see it and hear it and understand it, and then you can move on after that. And you can have your own opinion, and you can voice it here. If you can, and if you have something to say and you want to put it on here, and you have the moxie to bring up the paperwork on it, so be it. You can do that too. As long as I have proof about it and you feel like you want to do something about it, maybe I can help you with it. So without any more, please remember us in your prayers. And as John says, ta-ta.